everyone, Simsy Claire here and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video we are doing an autumn inspired home. Now autumn is my favorite season, and since it is now September, it is officially the start, at least in my mind, of the fall season. So I'm so excited to finally be doing this. I meant to do this last week, but I already had all my videos planned out and I forgot that September started technically last week, so I was like, okay, I'll just do the second week of September, we'll push it back. And then I was like, we have the new pack coming out this week, so I'm honestly not sure what I'm going to do, because so the pack comes out Wednesday and I have this video going up today, which is Monday, but I can't build with the pack probably until Thursday, which means I'll be way behind. Everyone will already have everything out. For those who don't work, they'll have everything out on Wednesdays, and I'm gonna be stuck doing it on Thursday because I work all day on Wednesday, so I won't have time to play with the pack until I get done with work, and I'm super annoyed about it. I really wish the pack was coming out on like Sunday or something, that way I could have time to play with it and get builds ready for you guys, but unfortunately that is not the case. So I'm probably gonna have this build for Monday and then a speed build go up on Wednesday. I think it's gonna be an ice cream parlor, so stay tuned for that. And then I'll start with the new pack probably Friday. Hopefully I'll have enough time Thursday to play around with it. I know that not everyone is excited for this pack. I, however, am. I am a huge Star Wars fan. I was raised on Star Wars pretty much. My dad has had me watching them since I was old enough to remember what was in movies that I was seeing, so I've pretty much just been hooked on Star Wars since I could walk, and I'm really excited to be able to play with it in The Sims. I understand why people aren't. I totally get their point of view, but I personally am, so don't hate me. But I am going to be sharing some Batuu builds. I know you can't actually build in Batuu, which is a little disappointing, but I will just suck it up and build in Oasis Springs, which I never do. But anyway, back to this build. So as I said, this is an autumn inspired home, so I was trying, I wanted it to be a family home, because autumn to me screams cozy and family living and being like curled up by a fire pit with your, significant other or your friends, your close friends, your family. So I really wanted it to be like a really snug and cozy family home. And I also definitely wanted to do, dark brown colors, keep it into the fall color scheme. Now, you can see I'm building in the fall season in my game. Luckily enough for me, the save that I build in is currently in fall, so I was able to get all the trees to stay the color and get kind of like that shadow that the game puts over during the fall season. However, you will see towards the end of this video, once I go into the interior, that is no longer the case, and that's because I logged out and stopped building for a couple of hours, and then I came back and I went into the build mode without loading a household. I just went into the build mode, so it put it into the natural state of The Sims, which is not in fall, so I do apologize about that. But all of the screenshots and all of the exterior is or most of the exterior, the backyard isn't, but all of the front and most of the landscaping is in the fall season, so you get to see how this house looks in the fall season that it is inspired by. So we're going into some landscaping here, and it's pretty basic landscaping, a lot of debug plants. I use debug plants a lot with bigger homes because I think it keeps the price down, and B, I think it makes the lots look more natural instead of the plans that we get from the build and buy catalog. But then again, I'm also sometimes just super lazy and I don't feel like scrolling through all of the different debug menu things to find the plants in the debug menu, so sometimes I do just use the regular plants just because I don't feel like scrolling through the debug menu, because the debug menu is extensive. Now I know I could probably just not put the live edit objects cheat on and just build with the show hidden objects cheat on, but I still feel like even at that point it's just so big, it's hard to maneuver. And going back into the build, here I was just moving around my little path stones there. I've been really feeling using these path stones recently. I built another build the day that I'm recording this voiceover, I built like a modern home, and I used the square ones, not these like circular round ones, but the square. It's like the same pattern, it's the same type of stone, they're just square and rectangular. And I don't know, I always use the terrain paint, so I think recently I've just been trying to switch it up, and now I feel like I've used these stones too much. So I hope you guys don't mind. I know a lot of my builds are like large family homes. It's just what I'm most comfortable with building and what I enjoy building the most. So I am sorry. I know how many family homes can one person build, but I'm trying to switch it up. I have my baking series now, which, speaking of, thank you so much for all the love I got on the first baking video that went up. It was brownies. If you haven't seen it, I will link it somewhere around here. But it was, honestly, I was blown away by the amount of love that I got on that video, because it's not strictly Sims, it's me baking things. So I was honestly shocked that so many people enjoyed it, but also so happy at the same time. And yeah, and then I have my ice cream shop going up, as I said, so I'm trying to throw in a couple of builds in here that aren't, you know, just large traditional family homes. But this is where I told you we had the jump where it's no longer in the fall season. You can tell everything is just a little bit brighter. That's not like a mess up on my computer. It's the fact that it's no longer in the fall season. And this is, I just simply decorated the front porch with a rocking chair. Now, I didn't realize until this build how frustrating it was that we did not get like a darker, cooler toned wood for the rocking chairs from Nifty Knitting. So you can see the wood in that rocking chair right there. That's the darkest color wood that we got with the rocking chairs, and as you can see, it really doesn't match any of the super dark woods in the rest of the swatches for the game. So it's a little frustrating, but I think it looks okay. It's just not like a perfect match, basically. But going on into the interior, I already did the floor planning. I cut out the floor planning, although you will see me mess with it a little bit more in this build because I realized the living room was just so small. But we will get to that probably in like 20 seconds, 40 seconds, something like that. I'm just doing the entranceway and this little hallway here. I'm trying to add, you know, more hallways because I feel like I always do open floor plans, but hallways are so hard to decorate. Let me know in the comments down below if you also think hallways are so hard to decorate, because it's just, there's so much wall space. You don't really like, we don't have enough pictures to fill all the wall space, so you have, like, I don't know. I just always get so frustrated. Like, it's like I always put like a plant in this corner and a lamp in this other corner, and then like a plant here or there, or a picture frame here or there, and I feel like it's just always the same. And you can't really get past that with hallways because there's so much space to fill up. So I'm trying to do more hallways. But anyway, here for this, I really wanted this to fit one of these chairs, but unfortunately I made it too big, so I kind of cheated a little bit, and I do this like wall illusion where basically the outside is bigger than the inside. Basically. So I cut out one of the pieces of the wall, and that also gave me a little bit more room for the living room, because this is where I started to realize the living room that I had planned was just too small. It's in that little space over to the right, and I'm sure some of you are watching this like, how is she going to fit a living room in there? I don't fit a living room in there. I end up moving the walls around because it's just too much. But here I was just filling up those shelves a little bit with some clutter decorations, and then I'm finding some curtains to place on these windows. I believe I ended up going with Parenthood. I wanted to go with orange, and that's what made me change the chair to orange. I know orange is such a cliche autumn color, but this is a cliche autumn house, so I figured it would be okay. And I also really like how orange looks with dark toned woods like these, so that was kind of my reasoning behind doing that color scheme, besides the fact that this is an autumn home. But I was having a lot of issues figuring out this living room. I mess with it so much. I wanted to use like brown and orange furniture, but we don't have any like dark brown and orange furniture. It's either mixed with other colors like these movie hangout stuffs, or it's like light brown and orange. And so I decided to go with the Nifty Knitting and then this movie hangout chair, and you saw we kind of flashed a little bit. That was me changing the floor plan. So initially the dining room had been a separate room from the kitchen, and that's why it stuck out so far into the living room, but I did decide just to connect the two rooms, and then that way there was a little bit of more space for this living room here. It's still a very small living room, which is why I don't get a lot of clutter into it, but I think it kind of just adds to the homey vibe of this place, because it definitely, like, because it's so small, it makes it feel more lived in and more, I don't know, like I said, just more lived in, even without all the clutter. But I did change the coffee table because the big square ones, I sized it down, but it still just looked way too big, so I decided against it. And then I put a picture up right behind the couch, and then I was thinking about putting a rug here. I don't remember if I actually do. Oh, I do. So I left the laundry day one. And then I changed the placement of the door just so, honestly, I didn't have to fill that space on the wall, because I felt like it would be weird having a picture right next to another picture and they didn't like go together. And then I'm placing some hanging plants here and a couple of other pictures, well, one other picture. And then I'm going to go into the kitchen and the dining room. So you can see here that it's kind of an odd shape. It ends up being a really large kitchen, but it looks super tiny, and I think it's just because it's so closed off. You can't really, like, obviously it's huge, like there's like tons of counter space, but because of the way it's shaped, you can't, it's just, it looks smaller than it is. And I almost forgot to put windows in any room in this build. I end up having to go back in the end to fix some windows, so I do apologize about that. I think I cut most of it out, but you will see at the end that I start moving the camera really fast to try and fit in some windows. But right now I just put one here in the kitchen, and I like adding windows right above the sinks just because I feel like it, I don't know, it makes the most sense in a kitchen to put the window right above the sink, but it also gives a break in the, what are they called? The cabinets. That way you don't just have like a whole wall of cabinets. And then you saw I added a dog bowl, and, well, it's two bowls, so technically you could have two dogs, or you could have a dog and a cat. I don't actually end up putting anything else in this build for dogs and cats. Like, there's no toys, there's no cat trees, so you can definitely decide on your own if you want this family to have a dog or a cat. For being honest, I kind of forgot after I placed those food bowls that they had a dog and a cat, or they had food bowls, so that's kind of why they aren't a little bit more prominent, some more objects for the cats and dogs. And then here I'm just cluttering up the kitchen. The kitchen is definitely more cluttered than the rest of the house, but that's just because it had the most space. And I also, I don't know, I prefer cluttered kitchens. You all saw my kitchen in my Baking with the Sims video, and obviously that was a very cluttered kitchen. So I just think I don't know, I preferred cluttered kitchens. But going over here for the dining room, I start with the table this way, and I wanted to do like a bench seating, kind of like I did in my vacation huts video. But unfortunately, bench seating doesn't work in the game. It's not functional, and this is a 4-sim household, so I wanted to make sure that there was 4 functional chairs. So that's why I decided to change the bench seating, and then I'm just placing a couple of picture frames and then a plant and some salt and pepper shakers on the table. And then we're going on into the downstairs bathroom. So there is, I believe, 3 bathrooms in this build, this one and then 2 upstairs, and I don't believe I left the other 2 bathrooms in this video, but I have been wrong about that before, so don't quote me on it if I did. But this is just a very simple bathroom. I don't believe, no, there was no shower or anything in there, just the toilet and the sink and stuff for guests to use, basically, in case you had parties in this house or something. And then going in here, this is the mudroom and the laundry room. So I have this little area over here that I place the laundry machine and the dryer in, and then I do a shelving unit above the washer and dryer, and then I get a couple of different decorations. I was having an issue because of this weirdly shaped corner here. I wasn't sure what to put there. I ended up putting some flowers, and then going up over here, I originally was going to place the hanging coat racks, and then I decided that a picture might work better, so I do place these movie hangout, I think is where they came from, movie hangout pictures. But then I end up going back in and deleting those as well, because this side of the house had no windows, so I do go back in and add some windows there instead of the picture frames. And then moving on to the upstairs, this is going to be the master bedroom, again using the Parenthood curtains, and you can see that I decorated the bathrooms off camera just to save some time. But I end up giving them the Seasons bed, but I merge it into the wall so it looks like there's no headboard. I don't always do this, but sometimes I just think the headboard on this bed is way too big, and I like the Seasons bed that we got without the headboard, so sometimes I just like to make it look like the other one. And then I'm cluttering up these side tables just a little bit, and I put a simple picture above the bed. And then I'm trying to figure out where to put this laundry basket. I started with it here, but I ended up moving it because I needed a space for the mirror. And then I'm cluttering up their dresser just a little bit. I was going to use my red shelf, but this was the house that I was building right after the update came through for the new patch, which means all of my custom content came out of my files, and I forgot to re-enable it before I went back into building, so unfortunately my red shelf was not available, but it's okay. I think I made do without it pretty well. And then this is going to be one of the kids' rooms, so it's one kids' room and one toddler room, but you can easily change the toddler bed into a kid's bed, and the bedroom will still work. And this kids' room, I got a desk and then all of the necessities like a dresser and a mirror. And I didn't realize at first how far out that desk stood from the wall. And then I turned my camera and I was like, why is this 8 feet from the wall? So that is why I ended up moving it. And then I added one of the school projects for the kid to work on. And then a toy box as well. And then I'm just cluttering up his dresser a little bit because it looked a little bare. And I always like to put decorations on kids' rooms' walls, but I used this wallpaper, so I really wasn't sure how many decorations I was going to get. And I really so I put these skateboards up, and I really liked how those colors worked with the walls. I do end up having to move them though, because again, the whole window situation, I didn't have any windows on that side of the house. So I had to go in and add some more, and the skateboards were in the perfect place for the windows to go. So I do end up moving them. They are still in the room, they're just not there. And then going into the toddler's room, I again use this bed from Eco Lifestyle. It is my favorite toddler bed. I think it might even be my favorite bed at all that we have in the game because it is just so cute. And then I use a dinosaur plushie, and I get a dresser over here, and then I decorate this wall with some trees just to give the room a little bit of variety. And then I place this picture here. Again, this one does end up getting moved just so I can place some windows, but I'm basically placing a whole bunch of pictures and decorations and toys just all over the place because I figured a toddler room, you couldn't really keep it, you couldn't really keep it that clean. So I figured that kind of just made the most sense. And then we're about to skip over a whole bunch of time so we could fit in the windows. And then going out here for the outside, I do place a dining table out here on the patio. Now, I don't give them a grill, which I just noticed, so I'll probably go back in and give them a grill before I upload it to the gallery, just because that would make the most sense to have an outdoor table if you have a grill. But I also thought that it would be cool, because it's the autumn season, if these people grew pumpkins. So they had a pumpkin patch in their backyard, and either they could sell them at the local market or they could just keep them for themselves, although it is a lot of pumpkins. And unfortunately, we don't actually have pumpkin plants in the game, which I think is honestly a little weird. With Seasons, I feel like we should have gotten pumpkin plants, and I don't know, maybe it's an unlockable one that I haven't unlocked yet, but I was basically, for this, I'm just using the clutter pumpkins that we got with Seasons and the spooky stuff pack. So, yeah. And then I'm placing some leaf piles around. When it is in the fall season, they look a lot better. I'm basically placing them under where some trees are to make it look like they fell off of those trees. But right now it looks a little weird because unfortunately I did accidentally hit the spring, or we're in the spring season because of the build mode that I'm in. But this is pretty much it for this build. I just throw a couple of other things to make this pumpkin patch look a little bit more realistic, and then I also put a little fence around it to keep the kids from, trampling all over the pumpkins, because I feel like that would be a dangerous situation. And then I also add a monkey bar thing over here because I put the swings in the front, so I decided to add a monkey bar and a toddler slide to the back. But as I said, that is pretty much it for this video, so I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you did, please leave a like and be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye! bye.